Hi, this is Kave, and today for the general medical conditions presentation, I'm going to be doing number 15 on the group. It said iron deficiency anemia and runner's anemia. So let's get started with this. First, I'm going to start is what is iron deficiency anemia? Medical condition basically where the body doesn't get enough iron due to the body not making enough hemoglobin because hemoglobin brings brings red blood cells to the muscles, to the rest of the body. But the low hemoglobin and not being able to be delivered to oxygen throughout the body causes low iron. And then I'm going to go into runner's anemia. This is actually a false anemia. It is often mistaken for iron deficiency anemia, but this is actually a normal occurrence of the body where during like endurance training, during running or something, this is where endurance training and physical activities such as like running, there's an increase in plasma volume, and this is where the hemoglobin dilutes, so it gets low in the concentration of the blood. However, this is just like I said, a natural occurrence of increased plasma volume and low hemoglobin, but it'll go back up as once they're well rested and stuff like that. But runners can develop iron deficiency anemia through a process called hemolysis, where this is hemolysis. If we get into it, it's kind of like a breakdown of red blood cells. And then I just wanted to show you guys some symptoms, kind of additional information about iron deficiency anemia and runner's anemia. We have symptoms like extreme fatigue, lack of energy, muscle weakness, extreme fatigue, extreme muscle weakness, pale skin, irregular heartbeat, restless leg syndrome, where we have a chart right here. This is kind of symptoms and a description of restless leg syndrome. And then we have headaches, dizziness, sometimes poor appetite, brittle nails, sore swollen tongue can happen. Yeah, things like that. And then to move on, we're going to go on to the causes of iron deficiency anemia. There is a few causes of iron deficiency anemia, which include general blood loss, decreased iron absorption, unhealthy or adequate diet, and then even dialysis, people that are have kidney failure and stuff like that. So general blood loss, this is where iron deficiency, this is where the most common cause of iron deficiency anemia in individuals. This can come from trauma, wounds. It can come from menstrual bleeding from women, digestive tract issues from men. And so for decreased iron absorption, we have malabsorption. Can result in iron deficiency anemia with other, like I said, digestive tract causes and bowel removals or even bariatric surgeries. Next is inadequate diet. This is very common, especially with people in the U.S. because we have fast food everywhere and stuff. So it's kind of hard to maintain people's diets out here. But an unhealthy diet, not getting enough iron-rich foods in their diet, can lead to iron deficiency anemia in the long run. And then individuals on dialysis due to kidney failure, they can take medications that create the body to make more red blood cells, which can actually be a potential risk for developing iron deficiency in the long run. Then I'm going to move on to cause of runner's anemia. We have a few causes. We have heavy sweating. So when runners push through a certain point where going past their threshold or something, this is an indirect symptom of anemia, where sweating can cause athletes to lose iron. This is where the body kind of struggles to regulate its own temperature, along with developing actually an increase in heat sensitivity, which is crazy. And then the next is gastrointestinal bleeding. This can lead to runner's anemia, iron deficiency in runners through chronic blood loss or nutrient malabsorption. And then going back to hemolysis, this is actually the most common cause of iron deficiency or runner's anemia, cause of runner's anemia. This is, like I said, a breakdown of red blood cells through repetitive impact or high training load. People that are constantly running all the time, maybe like marathon runners, they need to get they need to consume a very high amount of iron in order to stay healthy, ensure that they don't get muscle weakness, all that kind of stuff, muscle weakness, fatigue, all that. And then the next is poor nutritional intake, kind of went on in that already. A lot of vegans and vegetarians in their diet don't include a lot of iron rich foods, which is, you can kind of see. I didn't really do research on it, but I don't know. I saw a thing where it said vegans, vegetarians kind of have an increase of poor nutritional intake because they're not getting those iron rich foods in their diet. And then again, menstruation, blood loss from females from doing like from periods and stuff and all that. They can get a higher risk of losing iron because of that iron that's in the blood. Next is how iron deficiency anemia affects sports performance. It can be detrimental to sports performance due to a reduction of oxygen delivery because of the hemoglobin. There's less hemoglobin. And then, less oxygen being delivered to the muscles. This condition can actually impair our energy metabolism by the amount of iron being essential for the enzymes and the electron transport chain. And then, which is actually the electron transport chain is very essential, very crucial for producing ATP. With less ATP being produced, cellular functions start to slow down, and then this can lead to muscles and other stuff. Muscles and nerves functioning so less muscles and nerves being not utilized can equal poor performance, obviously. And then again, iron deficiency anemia can lead to quicker fatigue. Physical activity performances can decline due to the things I said above. And then the next is how runners of anemia affect sports performance. So this is I'm just gonna lead to runners that have iron deficiency anemia or hemolysis due to repetitive impact. Again, reduction of oxygen transport, and then muscle fatigue, weakness due to again oxygen transport lacking and no hemoglobin. Decreased endurance actually happens due to the less oxygen being delivered to the lungs. And then this can actually affect VO2 max. So less VO2 max and increased muscle fatigue weakness means there's a negative impact on overall athletic performance. And it can limit the runner's overall athletic capacity. Next is treatment for iron deficiency anemia and runner's anemia. Big number one treatment for both of these is taking iron supplements. This can be through the mouth or it can be injected. So you can take some iron supplements that are very crucial for maintaining an iron-rich kind of diet is ferrous sulfate, we have ferrous gluconate, and ferrous fumarate. So it's ideal to take these, especially on an open stomach, with vitamin C rich foods. Do not take these iron and antacids at the same time, or don't drink coffee and stuff like that. And we have dietary changes. This is second, I'd say, on the most important when it's dealing with iron deficiency anemia, runner's anemia. Getting enough food, getting enough iron-rich food. We have red meat, dark poultry, tuna, salmon, and a lot more. Medications you can take. I can't pronounce that, but looked it up, and it's very essential for trying to sustain or maintain an iron-rich diet. Though it's not recommended for people that maybe have heart problems, heart diseases, and all that conditions. Then there's blood transfusions, and then surgery may be needed sometimes, especially for internal bleeding. So these are kind of all treatments that can help with both iron deficiency anemia and runner's anemia. And then tests, I kind of included this again. I included this as additional information. This is tests that can be taken if you are diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia. You can monitor levels regularly through regular blood tests. You can take ferritin test. This is where it'll show the blood ferritin level, which is if it's low, that means the body's iron is very low. So if you have a high ferritin level, that's going to be good. Obviously, if you have a low, that's going to be bad. And then we can do tests through CBC. A lot of people have done that. Very common. Endoscopies. Yep, you insert the tube, the esophagus. Check for any bleeding inside. Colonoscopy, same thing. Ultrasound. Women that are on periods and stuff like that. We can look for excessive bleeding, hemorrhage and stuff during that period cycle. Prevention, eat a lot of rich foods again, vitamin C diet, like I said, again, seafood, red meat, poultry, dark poultry and stuff. Leafy green vegetables, beans, vitamin C foods. You have strawberries, broccoli, kiwi, oranges, a lot more. It's very important to making an appointment with a doctor or physician if you have any symptoms or anything like that. Prevention for infants, it's very essential, very, very crucial, very important to give your baby iron-rich formulas or foods in their first year in order for them to develop, in order for them to grow, in order for them to be healthy overall. And then ensure to continue to give them iron-rich foods after their first year. And so next, we have references, 10-question quiz. We have a lot. More questions on here. And then we have an answer key. And that is the rest of my presentation.